Infrequent earthquakes in seismic hazard assessment. What can we learn from East Africa? Well, first to make the point that we know East Africa experiences large magnitude earthquakes. There's evidence from laterally continuous steep fault scarps, such as this one here, the Belila Matakataka fault down in southern Malawi. But these events are likely to be rare because the rift itself is extending at only about 1 to 5 millimeters per year. So how do we incorporate these events into probabilistic seismic hazard assessment? Well, typically in the rift, most PSHA maps to date have been made by considering just the instrumental record of earthquakes. And as you can see in this PSHA map here in A for Malawi, it doesn't do a very good job of tying the hazard to where the active faults in the rift actually are. And that's because we don't have much information on the slip rate of these faults or their likely recurrence intervals. So in B, in this map here, in this study by Hodge et al. 2015, they made some basic assumptions about how the geodetic extension is partitioned across the faults to derive some slip rates for these faults, and then use that information in a PSHA to form, as you can see, a quite different hazard map to that in A. So in our study, we've carried on this work from Hodge et al. 2015, but now we're looking in southern Malawi, and we're using a much richer data source of active fault maps in the region. Howler faults might be geometrically segmented so that maybe they actually rupture in more frequent but larger magnitude earthquakes, which from a hazard point of view might be more important, and also more complex modeling of how the extensional strain in the rift might be partitioned. And we've incorporated this information into the South Malawi Seismogenic Source database. And the information within this database was used to generate these 1 million year long stochastic event catalogues. And in conjunction with that, we also generated a similar length background event catalogue using aerial sources that have previously been defined for East Africa. So these are the seismic hazard maps that we in B that we made from this information. And as you can see, it leads to quite different hazard maps that have previously been defined for the rift. We can see that we do a much better job of tying the hazards to the location of the active faults in the rift. And so it's showing that even if we don't know the slip rates of faults, by making some basic geologic and geodetic assumptions, we can still use these faults in a meaningful way in seismic hazard. And we would suggest that this approach can also be used elsewhere. Thank you.